everybody. Happy Tuesday. If you're in the Western Hemisphere, it might be Thursday or Wednesday somewhere else, but welcome to tonight's call on Beyond the Ordinary show. And tonight we get to go beyond into perhaps a process that is really beautiful, that melds science and spirituality, that takes into account this awakening space that we're in and guides us into the part that's already awakened. And you're going to find out more about that. I'm going to leave that a little vague for you right now on purpose, because our guest tonight took me through this process that really touched on something that was still waiting to be activated, waiting to be remembered, to be held and received, but also acknowledged in its intelligence. And it's something that's opened up a playfulness in me and a peacefulness that's streaming through. And so we'll talk about my session. We're going to talk about Dr. Leslie Kalyn's process, how she came to it, and so much more. And we're going to open up to Q&A as well. So perhaps we could tune into your energy blueprint and see what's available there, and the possibility to take it even deeper with the special offer that is being presented here on BTO tonight. And it's something that I'm going to recommend to everybody. Again, this process touched me in a way that I did not expect. And it's absolutely remarkable. Again, the shifts that I've been feeling. So it's with tremendous appreciation and joy that I bring you Leslie on tonight. And let me tell you a little bit more about Leslie. Now, she's going to be talking about developing peace in a time of chaos, but that leads into, again, this expansionary space that I'm referring to here in the introduction. So Dr. Leslie Kalyn is a blueprint fixer. She's a self-evolution expert and human advancement facilitator. Her role is to deeply understand the challenge of limiting human patterns and reveal a practical way to transform the human experience. She's a conduit for energy transference from higher consciousness to the human form. Her mission is to guide others through this accelerated human upgrade practically, effectively, and with ease and grace. And now that the global awakening has begun, people can return to their energetic wholeness so they can access their highest potential on this planet. And Leslie, what we were talking about earlier also, as we activate this potentiality, what I'm witnessing, and you discussed in your experience also, where you're witnessing is that as you attune to a vibrational frequency, that the manifestation of events and circumstances around that are just happening almost instantaneously. What used to take days or weeks or months or even years, it's the vibrational match is just immediately, almost comparatively speaking, presenting itself. So it's amazing. And welcome to the show, by the way, as I started the conversation already.
Thank you so much. I would just jump right in. Absolutely. You're 100% right. As we're shifting into this new evolutionary phase in our planet as a species, as a race, really, we are those who are really sensitive to what's going on. We can sense that, but also we're experiencing that tangibly. So you can't deny that when those manifestations just start happening. I remember when they would take me 3-4 weeks to get any manifestation going. And then it was 3 days. And now it's literally within a day, I can manifest something. So it is on. We are in that new space. And I'm here to help people really understand that, maximize that, because this is a beautiful time. Those old constructs no longer exist. We don't need to have them. It really needs to end. And we all have to affirm that and step into a new way of being so that we can really flourish and experience that joy, abundance, vitality, all of that blissful wonderment that life really is meant to bring us.
So how did you get to this space? Again, you have a background in science and you've got deeply ingrained in the metaphysical as well. And somehow you've managed to meld the two to bring in a very practical and comprehensive way to really spiritually and esoterically align with the energies that are obviously part of our world.
Right. It's been a very interesting journey for me. So back when I was a preteen, I was very fascinated by metaphysics and psychology. I battled with a lot of anxiety, didn't feel like I belonged, always just had this longing. I just knew from a very, very young age, even before that, I was here to really make a difference and to bring something forward for humanity that would really revolutionize the way we exist and be. Didn't know what that was. And so when I started learning about these different personal development techniques, gosh, 20 plus years ago, and then I got into medicine and nursing, and then got my doctoral degree and learned the different ways of understanding constructs, theories, frameworks that we use to guide our practice. Really helped gather that information that I then brought into my spiritual awakening. I had this incredibly powerful, intense, and terrifying dark night of the soul ensue. And that is not to scare anybody on the call who hasn't gone through something so intense. It's not an experience that everybody has. Not everyone has such a terrifying experience, but it was part of my journey because I am, as you said, a blueprint fixer. I'm here to really understand the nitty gritty of the patterns and the trauma that we as humans go through so that I could assimilate something to bring forward. And so really through my science, understanding the breakdown, the physics, ourselves as energetic beings, having my awakening where I had all of these wonderful gifts and abilities be triggered and turned on. And then bringing in the cognitive aspect, I was really able to just put it all into place and create a process that is practical, it's effective, and it's efficient with getting you through all of that not self garbage or energetic distortions that are really keeping us from stepping into our new human being, really shedding those layers so that we can be authentically whole.
How would you describe that process to people? Again, you guided me through it, and we can get into some of the details and the nitty gritty of what I experienced. But describe how you take people through this. What is it that they're receiving from your perspective or interacting with?
So when I'm in a session with somebody,
Yeah.
So when I'm in a session, it's really I'm connecting with myself and my higher consciousness. And so I've been able to, through using my remap process, which is I created to that's really breaking down that whole, breaking down the process of self-evolution. I basically work with the other person's energy. I can tune into them, get guidance in terms of understanding and pulling at their energy in a gentle, graceful, welcoming way to find where they're having the blocks and the limitations to achieving what it is that they're wanting to achieve, and or what block they have that needs to be eliminated to open themselves up. So through that reflection process that I take them through, and through my connection with their inner truth, I basically am guided to questioning and pulling them into themselves to uncover for themselves their own truth. And so as much as someone wants to go in, and we need their willingness. They need their willingness to go into those dark places, those shadow places that don't always feel so good. We can unravel together through, again, my presence and their willingness, show up what's needed, and then needed to shift and be released. And then after that energetic process, there's an intellectual process that happens. And that's where the science brain comes in. So the first part is really just about reflection and getting into their being, helping them connect with themselves, bringing up what that doesn't need to serve them anymore. And then we come out of that space and we create new constructs from that scientific or the mental mind, action steps, and then progress and that sort of thing. So it really is a blend of both that spiritual energetic aspect and really integrating it through tangible, real world processes.
That's beautiful. My experience with it, it's, I would say it was a combination of soul retrieval with past life or present life regression, with future life progression, with repatterning of not just the neural pathways, but also cellular memory at the same time.
Yep, absolutely. So it's very subtle. What's really the basis for what I do is engaging and activating in the other their own sovereign potential to co-create. You have all of the ability to heal yourself. Everyone has the ability to heal themselves. So I'm not here to do healing. I facilitate by my gift of being able to really connect and tune in, and using that connection to bring that energetic healing to that person. So activating and awakening in them by holding that space and just being. And like I said, with the questioning and that the banter that occurs and that guidance, really they're doing all of the work. I mean, I'm here to be and with my ability offer my energetic vessel, or my vessel to energetically flow what needs to flow through. But it's really about helping people just activate in themselves, because that's what this is about, the new wave forward. We have to really step into our co-creative potential with the universe. We need guidance. That's why people like you and I are here to help bestow and give the tools. But it's really about making people independent and aware that they have everything inside of them to heal, fix, create, manifest, expand, etc.
That's beautiful. And again, the process I went into with you was, it surprised me how quickly we got into it, because we really got into the root of this thing that's been running in the background forever.
Yep.
Ever since I can remember. I've got the picture of my 3.5-year-old behind me to remember as far back as I remembered carrying this energy. But you were so just quickly, within 3 minutes, we were into the root.
And that's really how I operate. I'm all about results. That's the science brain that comes in, is that there really isn't any need for us to delay. We can. I mean, it's your willingness. And so really it's all there. All the information is there. It's just connecting, helping you connect with yourself, and you can bring it up and you go right to the root, because really, these mental constructs that we create about life are just mental constructs. They're from our primal brain, they're from ego, they're from societal programming, cultural. That stuff really, that's exterior. We really don't need to operate from those things. In fact, those create those energetic imprints. So yeah, we can just go in and dive down, retrieve it immediately, and just dissolve it. Like, it's really that simple as you experience, and quick.
And this really brings me to the topic of really what we sent out promising everybody we're going to be talking about developing peace in times of chaos, because that is either one of the great liberators if you're in the aspects of peace and why you're in that peace, or if you're in chaos and how that tends to regurgitate I'll call it the forgetfulness that we have, of the remembering that we have access to. Tell us more about that.
Peace is a funny thing, because there's two different ways we really can compartmentalize it, I guess. There's the external peace, where we want to have our environment peace, the three-dimensional. We want peace and quiet. We don't want to be disrupted. We want to be able to focus. We don't want the distraction. And so that piece is what a lot of people have been experiencing in terms of their chaos, the chaos that's been disrupting their peace, the pandemic and all the, the fear mongering and whatever, all of the things. And the thing is, chaos is really, it's not a negative thing. We've identified chaos as a negative thing, but peace and chaos are right there together. And I'll explain. By definition in physics, so let's go into our science brain, it's formless matter. So chaos really isn't something that has a negative charge. We've attached a negative charge to chaos because of our primal brain that has led us to survive for so long. And that's great. But we don't need that association anymore. We don't need to identify chaos as negative because we're stepping into a new world and way of being. So really, chaos, by its real, universal definition, is an opportunity to create something of form that can be positive. Yes, chaos can create negative outcomes and consequences, but chaos in itself is not destructive. Chaos is actually an opportunity. And so today, it would be so fantastic if the people on the call would understand and start shifting that they can get their peace around them just with that shift in their perception that chaos isn't something to be feared. That's an ego construct, and we can have peace. Take that opportunity, whatever it is we're seeing that as in the world, as an opportunity to create what we want, including peace.
Mm.
So that's the external piece that we can get right now, right this second. And it can start with just that perception shift. People may need to step back out of their egos and really into their inner space to understand that concept, but it's there. And it is the beginning to setting them free and releasing them from that chaos association that they have. And then we can talk about the inner peace, because that's a whole other layer. And that's a more exciting and beautiful piece, which we really all want. But we do need to have a certain amount of peace on the exterior for us to be able to function and be ready to then step into the next level of peace on the inside.
For sure. And I think part of the aspect of the outer piece and the chaos also is how we've been entrained to respond to having our needs met. And so we've become so addicted to the dopamine hits of instant satisfaction that if we don't get the peace, even in the potential of realizing that chaos is here to serve us right away, that we think something's wrong and we go into more chaos. So really there's this aspect of also having compassion and patience as we come to a mental understanding, but allowing our physical body to catch up to the chemical response as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's peace is it's fascinating to me because it can be so elusive to people. It's really a state that you can be in, but it takes disconnecting yourself from your perception. And so there are many gurus that talk about different ways of being able to get into peace. There's presence and contemplation and meditation. And, meditation is interesting because it can be so helpful, but it can also create disillusionment. So we can go into, and I can attest to this in my very, very traumatic dark night of the soul, where I would just use meditation as a way to escape the chaos, the negative chaos I was associating with, just for salvation, just so that I could get out of this terror, this nightmare that seemed to be going on, and just really escape. It was a false sense of peace, but it gave me that momentary peace. But we can expand that and actually create peace around us before we're even in that deeper inner soul peace, which is really what we want, by expanding and disconnecting more and more from that ego. So for me, the way I used to live and operate before is completely different than how I live and operate now. I live completely from a different compass, disconnected from my ego construct. Really, I don't think very much, believe it or not, as sciencey as I am. I really, a lot of my thinking is for content creation, when I'm with my clients, when I'm, needing to do tasks. But really, when events happen, when things occur, I don't have those primal instinctual responses because I've entrained in myself to really disconnect from that and know my truth, my inner truth. And so that shifting in that mindset and putting that ego, the mental constructs to the side and tuning into that deeper inner existence makes everything shift, makes everything transform in your outer existence.
When you're in the actualized inner peace in this place that you say that you're living now,
Mhm.
what is it that you feel from that space that's different from the outer peace that you were searching for before?
Oh gosh. So outer peace is really, I mean, I have it all the time because I've created that environment around me where I can just have that peace and quiet. That's kind of how I equate the exterior peace. The inner peace is, it just makes me me smile automatically when I go into that, because it's that soul peace. It's a knowing that everything is okay. And what does that really mean? I'm sure we've heard that before. It's everything's okay, but is it really okay? It's that certainty that I can create and manifest the life that I want, that I'm safe in this world, that I'm secure, that I can create whatever it is that I want. And to get to that point, you really have to get to that wholeness and that unity of love in yourself, because love is our original consciousness. And so for me, being in peace is an extension of that embodiment of my wholeness, embodiment of that new template of self-love that gives me access to just knowing everything really is okay, that I have this there. And so when you disconnect from the ego and you come into that soul peace, it's that natural progression, because as a co-creative energy with the universe, peace is there. It's just that extension from love. It just exists.
Beautiful. And it's something definitely that's progressing within me as well. And I get to a level of peace, and there's another layer. And again, it's proven
Yeah.
through the session that we had. So to get into more specifics, it's as Leslie started taking me into the session, and I forget the prompt, and maybe you can lead us through maybe the different prompts or the alchemy that's available. But it led me to this place where there was, I was always waiting for a shoe drop. There's like this innate, like the pea in the mattress of the princess and the pea, just at the bottom, just rubbing the wrong way. And it's an aspect of me that I learned from a very young age. And I don't have to get into past lifetimes or anything else. It's from this lifetime is what released. And again, as much as I felt peace, that was still running in the subconscious and still
Mhm.
leading to, not that I felt it that much, but leading to blocked opportunities, to feeling stopped in different circumstances that where doors were really waiting to open, but that I was holding back on because there was a part of me that would not trust that it would stay, that it wouldn't betray, that the shoe wouldn't drop, that it wouldn't abandon, all these things that that many of us grow up with.
Mhm.
So it's quite profound. How did you lead me into that? And then what were the progressions to escalate it to such a point of awareness that I actually got to embody and then filtrate through my awareness to transmute it?
So again, you did so much of the work because you had the willingness to go there. So your intention was there, and I just worked through that. Um, you know, with my gift and ability, again, I can just tune in and go kind of right for it. I sense it, I see it, I experience your energy when I connect with you. And so just, it was just there. You just so beautifully identified it. And I don't know if you remember the words. I just said, okay, let's go there.
Yeah.
And I had you, guided you with your eyes closed to feel into the color, to get into your physical body,
Right.
but
Yeah.
to take you then into your energetic body. So we have to go through the layers. You were there cognitively, we went there physically, we tuned in, you presented a color. And then it was just from those color association, the image just appeared for you. We
Mm.
just held space, and I just said, okay, tell me, what do you see? Where does this come from? It was just guided questioning that I'm hearing for you to, bring this up. And really, once you found it, it was really just a matter of allowing you to go through, and I'm holding that energetic space and guiding you. Your eyes were closed, so you didn't really see my energetic work with you, but as I was pulling and engaging with your energy and kind of ruffling it up and coaxing it out and making sure that we were getting all of that so that you can finally transmute it, is really how that piece happened. Now, I wanted to just acknowledge that, yes, we get to our levels of peace, but there's always more layers.
Yeah.
So we go through our ascension, we get to a good level, but we're going through an expansion. So I'm in the place of expansion. There's always more layers because we're here to experience and live. It'd be kind of boring if we didn't have more to achieve. And so there's always these layers that we're going to be peeling back. So this pea in the mattress, the pea, like your princess in the pea mattress, it was just there. It was divine timing for you to release it. You were experiencing a glass ceiling effect you weren't able to get through. And it was just time for you to reach that next octave. For whatever reason, it was just time. And so it came up and you were just ready to work through it. So this work on ourselves, the self-evolution never stops, nor do we want it to stop. So, anyone on the call, don't be discouraged. We have a process that can help you streamline and make it super efficient, effective, and actually kind of fun when you really get into it and you know how to apply it to yourself. Now, when I did the next piece with you, bringing up that we just dissolved it, really, and that's all you need to do. You were connected with it energetically. I guided you to dissolve it. And then we just downloaded some clean, beautiful energy to replace that. And that's really important. So energy management is the most important thing. And that was what really bothered me about old, personal development paradigms. I would rack my brain. Why is it not working? Why is nothing really effective? People are wasting their time in this mindset, trying so hard to make something happen by just visualizing affirmations all day long when they're not getting to the root. The root is your default setting. If we're not getting and releasing that, you can affirm, and visualize all day long. Nothing is going to change, or it might, but as soon as the other shoe drops, you're back to square one. And so that's the frustration a lot of people have had, and what I had, which ended up leading me to develop this process. But it's after, you get into that energetic release and you download that energy, then your energetic field was crystalline. I saw you light up like a beautiful little Christmas tree. We didn't see those colors like we had before, which represented that block. And when you're in that state, that new energetic state, then we can bring in all those other constructs, the new belief systems, the new perceptions, the new rules that you have around life and creation. And then we follow them through with integrating that as a vibration, and then taking the action steps and then progress check. So it's just very methodical. But again, I have to say that you have to have the willingness to go there too. You did, some people don't want to, or they only go so deep, but there has to be that willingness to really look at those pieces and be willing to really let them go. Because sometimes people don't, and that's okay. There's no judgment, but that can be something that people get hung up on too, is just not wanting to really experience that hurt. So you did beautifully.
Oh, thank you. I felt it. And I felt it. An important part that happened with me in the process also is how quickly the integration came in, and I felt the shifts in that, because again, a lot of beautiful work that'll lead us into, we'll call it the healing component of it. But for me, the healing component of it and stopping there is like climbing this beautiful mountain that you're going up, and you get to the very peak. And stopping there, where the playground that you've been trying to get to is actually just a couple of 100 yards that way. But now it's an easier walk. Now you're excited about something. Now there is this opening and the sense of wonder, rather than, okay, I'm climbing to get there. It's the climbs only gets you so far, and it doesn't really take you to the peak
Mhm.
what wants to open up in your creativity and your ability to manifest, unless that the follow through is on being in the experience on the other side. And I felt that very strongly as I integrated, again, what felt like a soul aspect, but it was so much more than the soul aspect of me. It was a soul aspect. It was, again, my cells awakening.
Right. And that is what we did. So when I helped facilitate that download of energy for you, it really was the intention of bringing it into your energetic being, but also we were expanding your consciousness, your ability to reach new information in your cognition. So that's really important to the work that I do, is not just the energy field. That is easy once we know, as your community is very conscious and awake. So yes, we can download energy, but what about expanding our mental capacity into a new reality, a new set of information? That's part of the download that you received. And then also into the cells. That's the other piece. Science is bridging so beautifully and so quickly between spiritualities. This bridge is just meeting. And so we know that the body has ability to regenerate. We don't know fully the technology and how to facilitate that, but with the energy downloads, we know enough that if we just intend to bring that energy into ourselves, and we need to bring it into ourselves because that's that final manifestation. It's a physical mattered form. And so that's all part of being able to create that quick shift that you experience, that integration where you're just like, wow, that was so fast and it was seamless. And everything else kind of flowed after that. It's right. Because we're integrating that on all levels, from an energetic download through my vessel, bringing through the new light codes and the templates and energy that I do. And then consciously choosing to align your beliefs with that new download, and then taking guided action to follow through and bring it onto material form. So it is very specific on all levels to do that.
It's beautiful. And I felt y'all perk up when she said light code. So I'll ask that question in a minute. Hold on. We'll get there. I promise. I'm not going to skip that one over. But before we get into how you see the light codes and the energetics and if you will, the downloads that are taking effect, when you work with people with this method that you're bringing in, what kind of shifts have your clients experienced that you're aware of?
Oh gosh. I don't even know where to start. I mean, quite profound. Relationships that were incredibly toxic and decade-long, challenging, toxic, unhealthy relationships, literally in a matter of days, just disintegrating in the sense of just beautifully ending and allowing something new to come through. And that's something that's a little bit more recent with the client. So I'm more sensitive and want to bring that forward because the relationship dynamics many people have, particularly with Valentine's Day yesterday, and this is sort of a love time. There's a lot of that's been bubbling over. So those are big ones. And just really manifestation with money is one, and travel, relocating. It's, being able to just create instantly really are the big shifts. It's really, there isn't really one thing that people necessarily create. It's just the speed in which things can shift. Does that answer your question?
It does. And that actually makes me smile. Like I had a membership call yesterday and I was discussing what the flip side of being able to manifest and create so quickly brings up. And that's a whole nother class.
It is.
It's an energy management and a consciousness. And when you have so many choices, it's like, well, which one do I choose? And it's like, and how do you move that energy? So you go from scarcity
right.
to drowning in abundance. It's like, hold on a second, wait, slow down, let me attune and adjust. And it's not a bad problem to have. I'm not complaining, but it's definitely, you notice and you start kind of accumulating in the mind different timelines that are available to you, and then choosing. And there's a relaxing into allowing the body, the mind, and spirit to choose and to vibrate. And I also believe that part of it is also asking where we are in vibrational harmony with what we're really seeking, or where we're looking to repeat a pattern that's just good enough, or maybe just a little bit better than was before, but we're willing to go into that because it seems like it's miles better than what we had.
Right. Well, a lot of what's happening with people, this manifestation, they're clearing out all that energetic distortion, but then they're also kind of manifesting so quickly at the same time. A lot of that is process, right? Like you experienced with me, but also we're at a time in this evolution where we have that available to us.
Yeah.
So when we do the shifts, when we're doing the work to create or come into our wholeness, to shed those layers that are limiting us, we're also, been gifted this exponential ability to manifest quickly, just because it is that time. Those of us who done our work are doing our work, we're being rewarded after lifetimes and lifetimes of, oh my goodness, it's kind of like, now's the time. So we're getting that sort of double hit, which is beautiful. So any work people are doing, especially if it's really effective and deep work, they're going to be able to get that added sort of quickness in terms of that manifestation. But I'm always about making that even better. If it's fast, can we go faster? If it's efficient, can we get more efficient? If it's, easy, can we make it easier? So that's my science brain that comes in. But yeah, it's a beautiful time for people to just be able to create, but it's about knowing how to do that in the most efficient way.
Yeah, for sure. And I love the way that you explain it and bring it in also and share it again with some simplicity, because it doesn't have to be hard. It really doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. And I'm so grateful that all of my years and years of practice and personal development and difficulties and struggles, I've been able to finally bring forward a process, the remap process that people can use to really finally make that transformation that they want in themselves. They don't have to go through the struggle. They don't have to do all of that, living out that karmic stuff anymore. We really know now how to do it pretty quickly. It's not going to feel pretty all the time. But the thing is, we can get through that with so much more ease, where it feels like a quick Band-Aid being ripped off than like a, something really drawn out and painful.
Or a blind spot that just has us in suffering over and over again,
Right.
that we just can't find the way out of it. And it's being facilitated in such a different way. And again, the method that you bring forward is tremendous. Leslie, I want to go into your special offer. And so that y'all can have that, there's two special offers, and there's an opportunity to work with Dr. Leslie one-on-one, and those sessions will be limited. And so I want to bring that up now. So if you're interested in working with her, which I highly recommend that you do, and there's also a program of a journey of bringing you back to wholeness. And again, it's just wonderful what's been brought together here. So April, if you don't mind, put the link in the chat box, please, so that everybody can click on the link and follow along. If you can't find the link in the chat box, just go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Leslie27, LESLIE 27, and it'll take you to that same page. And Leslie, if you would, we've talked about your session quite a bit, but let's start with the private session. When someone signs up in the one-on-one session with you, what will they be receiving?
It's a 30-minute advancement session with me. And actually, when I had first talked to you about it, it was really just going to be my standard session standard. There's really nothing standard about it because I do quite a bit, as you know. But I really feel like what kind of came through today for me is, the people that are going to be choosing the package B with the one-on-one, I feel like we're going to need to do a little bit. It's going to kind of be a taster for me to see what the client's energy is to help them implement the Journey Back to Wholeness program. So it will certainly be my natural process, working with them, bringing up whatever issues, blocks, limitations they feel that they're having at that time, working through it, doing my process like I did with you. But I'm going to be really picking up and tuning in to see where they might have challenges, or they might need extra work as they work through the program, because everyone is a little bit different. The way the workbook is created, the 22-page Journey Back to Wholeness program, as much as you're guided and you have a lot of tools and strategies and you follow the remap process that I created, there is a lot of sovereignty in the way the person integrates it into their life. And so everyone is at a different level. They may be good in energy work. They may not know how to do energy work. They might be great with self-reflection, bad with how to take action from their inner guidance. And so that 30-minute session is going to be having that added piece of me saying, okay, this is what I picked up. This is what I think you would need to really get the maximum effect from the program.
That's funny. That's exactly what I was feeling when we started the show. I was like, oh, hold on a second. It's like you're going to be taking in, guiding them, and then they're just off to the races, but taking the program. So, that's package B. It includes a 30-minute session with Dr. Leslie. And package A, tell us more about what you put together here, because this is pretty special.
It is so special. I just get so giddy.
And I have to say, I convinced Dr. Kalyn to reduce her pricing on this. And there was reasoning behind it, but I wanted to make it accessible for everybody here on BTO. And because I know what happens when we make it accessible for you guys is that you become familiar with the work, and you can't help but to continue interacting with who brought it to you. So it's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. And to convince some guests on the show of that sometimes takes a little motivating. But for Dr. Kalyn, she just felt it and she trusted. And again, just without any hesitation, it's like, absolutely, let's make it accessible to everybody. So the pricing on package A by itself, that offer it's phenomenal. And then to add the private session on top of that for that price, it's again, if it's anything like my session, you're going to be absolutely amazed. Now tell us about the program. Yes.
Great. Yeah, no, it's wonderful. I mean, I really want more people to access my work. I mean, it's means so much to me. I've gone through so much, and it's my soul's purpose to bring something forward. So absolutely, I want the community, and I know it's so needed. It's been, it was literally being pulled out of me. Like, it's time to do it. The people need it. So it was great. So package A it's my baby. It's my fundamental program that introduces the Journey Back to Wholeness, balancing the elements of love. And, other clinicians, spiritualists, they talk about the 4 fundamental aspects that we need to be able to integrate love into us. And love is our truth. That's where we came from. It's everything. We were born from love. We're here to come back into love. And through love, we can achieve peace, bliss, joy, unity, consciousness. And so this program really goes into each one of the elements very comprehensively, but using my remap process, the remap process that I use in my one-on-one sessions, but is also what I used through my Dark Night of the Soul, and I continue to use to make my rapid, quick changes as I continue to expand. So you really are getting 2 huge pieces of information in this 22-page workbook, the how to balance those 4 elements, that will bring you into your wholeness, that pure state where you can finally live that authentic life. But it's introducing you to my remap process that you can then use in all of your other work. So it's pretty profound, action-packed, tons of content, tons of resources. And yes, it's 22 pages. It's hefty, but it works your way through. And the great thing about it is as you continue to come into your wholeness more and more, as the layers are shed, you can go through that program, that workbook over and over, or just sections or different pieces, depending on what resonates with you, and fine tune and fine tune and fine tune until you're finally at that, that wholeness, that alignment with your love. And you will know it when that happens, because everything just transforms. Your life is transformed, and you're creating and manifesting and being in the world in a completely different way that's authentic and beautiful.
Beautiful. And on top of the workbook, there's also some energy clearing.
Yes.
That is introduced as well. So tell us more about that as well, and why that's so important.
Right. So the energy management, so in the remap process, the energy management is really, really, really critical. That really is what separates the old personal development paradigms, when we're very mind-based, into the nouveau, which is sort of what I proclaim it's a nouveau personal development or self-evolution construct. To get to the nitty-gritty, to really dive deep, get in there and pull everything out, like I do in my one-on-one sessions. But each one of the modules is associated with one of the elements of love. And there is a energy transmission that I do with spirit to go in and clear out any of the distortions that are keeping you out of balance with that element. And we download energy, and we really just do that housekeeping. So again, we want to get your default away from those heavier constructs, those heavier energetic distortions, up level it into the new templates that are coming to the planet, that we need to live as these new humans. And so through my work, through spirit, you have these action packed. I love that word, because it's just so there's so much action in all of this, this program that I developed to really make those shifts at that energetic level. And so there's 4 of those energy transmissions to correspond with each one of the modules. And there are 4 audios as well that match up with the cognitive shift aspect. They're only a few minutes long. They're just to help encourage and reinforce how to bring that vibration into your being. So that was one of the things too that evaded the prior personal development paradigms, is they forgot the emotive aspect of the mental constructs. So when you want to change a belief system, you really need to align with that and attach a feeling to it, because that's where you can integrate that into your cells, into your energy field, and into your mind. So I have those 4 audios as well to just guide and instruct how to do that, so that you keep that momentum going, because really you need all of that to get the optimal effect of it in that speedy manner that I'm so driven to get. I want everyone to get to their wholeness fast.
Well, it embodies, it lands it helps to attune it to the new vibration that's accessible, as we open to receive. So again, for package A, you get the introduction video. So you can familiarize yourself with the video. You get the journey back to wholeness, the workbook, the 22-page workbook, which is the step-by-step guide to unlock or unravel the blocks. And you're introduced to the whole remap process. And then you're taken also into the clearing videos and the audios as well. So there's energy clearing for inner wisdom, for self-compassion, for inner strength, and for being. And again, the 4 guided mini meditations that are, again, part of that attunement process, the landing, and I would call it the bringing it home and owning it, and remembering. So this is wonderful. And excuse me just a second, because I have to sneeze. Okay, I don't anymore. Second I said that, I knew that would happen. It almost wanted to come up. But again, this process is phenomenal, y'all. Again, I was guided through it one-on-one with Dr. Kalyn, and it's I could feel the difference almost immediately, and what's come through. And again, the reminder of the energy that came through, what was holding it, and how he was liberated. And to keep tuning into him and inviting him in, that essence of that resonance of illumination that lived in me always, but for some reason was tuned down because of my environmental conditioning or my belief of it. It shifted, and I can physically and mentally feel the difference. My testimonial. So again, and we're bringing it here to y'all on BTO, and again, at a very special price, $97 for package A. There's a 2 payment option on that as well, and a 30-day money back guarantee. So it's like a no-brainer. If you buy it and have a relationship with it and it doesn't resonate, you know how it is on BTO. Most of y'all, it's no questions asked. Just say, well, I want a refund. You won't, but it's available. And then for $177, you get everything that's included in the remat process, the meditations, the videos, the workbook, the introductory video, plus 30 minutes of one-on-one time with Leslie. And again, that carries a 2 payment offer as well. So I hope you all take advantage of it. Again, if you're not on the page already, April's fast. April's typed in the link in the chat box. Click on the link or go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Leslie27 and find a page, add to cart, and it'll take you about 2 minutes to check out. Super simple. Leslie, I mentioned it earlier. I promised. Tell me about light codes. What do you see? What are you bringing in?
Oh my, we're just jumping in. You know, the light codes are really, really dependent on the individual. So I am here for love. You know, I bring the templates of self-love, and they're upgraded, and I'm kind of living them and then sharing them as I integrate them into myself. And so through my own process, I use the remap process, but as a soul, I'm here to first embody, integrate, experience. And then there's a certain point when I can start, sharing and transmitting and holding that space so that those codes can come through for others. So when I do any type of clearing, it really is not, it's simplistic for me because I've just been doing it for so long, but really it's the light codes are these new sort of crystalline codes of new energy that are streaming to the planet, streaming to us as beings that I can help facilitate bringing into an individual. That's kind of the best way I can explain it. People can access on their own codes, but as Spirit tells me, because my vessel, I've keep myself in such a pure state, and I've done so much of that decongesting and deconditioning. I can hold a space essentially bringing in my client to that space that I hold and bring through that energy in that communal space. So that's sort of that energy transference that happens. So they get sort of a direct download through me.
Right. It's osmosis energetically, truly.
Right. Yeah. Very energetic. Now, with my speech and the way I talk, there are times when I have codes being activated through my speech, and it's just the way that I say, and I could be stumbling and bumbling and saying whatever, but what comes through. And I know when I'm in that space, when Spirit is like, okay, this is coming through, and it just kind of happens. So when I'm in my sessions, particularly, there will be times when that stream will just happen. And I actually can see that code lighting up in the individual I'm working with. And it could just be a sentence. It could be a pause. It could just be a flood that comes through. So it's really, I work with that energy and however it shows up, but it's just, it just kind of flows, It's the best way that I can describe
No,
it.
I love that you're describing it that way as well, because for me, it's where science meets spirituality as well. And you're not stuck in the linear construct of the method that you've brought in, but you're implementing what else is available without the need for control or a linear process that can really trap people into, but this is the solution. It takes it beyond.
Right.
And very much like me, I feel you holding a place of non-judgment and highest potential. And it's always attuning to that as someone is willing
Right.
to that station, if you will.
Absolutely. And that willingness is so key. As I really emphasized when we were in the session together and emphasized again here, I mean, your willingness and you wanting to go there was really part of that. If you don't welcome me in, I can't connect with you. And if you don't have that willingness to receive that, it will just end. It will, the transmission will just end and it won't be received. As it comes through and you're willing and you're wanting to go there, I can just, it just flows and I can actually see that integration happening. And I know kind of when it's complete. And I think that was what happened in the session. And I kind of knew when you were complete, but allowed you to know for yourself when it was complete. Because I'm not here to tell you, I'm not really here to do anything, but bring your healing to yourself and transmit whatever it is that you need through me. But it's your process. It's every client to have their individual process. I'm just a participant to help you get where
you're not just a participant, you're a harmonizer and a very potent one. And I felt it again in my session. We were pretty much on the same page when the session had ended. It's like, okay, I'm done. And you said, oh no, you're done. It's like, yeah, I know. It was just so obvious. It's like, oh, okay, the energy shifted. And being a willing participant also is really important. And I say this just for awareness or contemplation. It's people come saying, oh, so you can read energy. You can do that. It's like, well, I guess you can call it that. I just kind of know. And I don't know why I know, but I know. And it's, well, read me. It's like, well, I can't. What do you mean you can't read me? Supposedly, because you're completely closed off. You're waiting for me to fail.
Right.
I can try to work really hard and I can maybe break through the barriers and typically get some kind of accuracy, but why do I want to work so hard? And there's not a resonant frequency that really has purpose for accelerating something else other than a state of ego that's looking for proof. Mm-hmm. But when someone's really open, it just flows and so much information comes in. It's a whole different level of relating to one another, that in co-creation, we open up to what else is possible.
Absolutely. Oh gosh, you said that so gorgeously. Oh, I love it. It resonated so much. That's exactly right. I mean, we are here to participate in this journey together. We need to be vulnerable. We need to have that willingness and just, I mean, being able to tune in. I mean, science has already validated telepathy. We know that exists. There's that exchange that happens. I mean, this is just, there's so much that we know that isn't even publicized actually about that bridging of the gap. And so this energy transference and this connection that we've known this for a long time. It's starting to be really validated. And so let's just be that and know that and experience that and when you're willing, wow, look at the things that can happen. I mean, in the session with you, you just so beautifully took it on, worked with it, shifted it, downloaded it, and you were like ready to rock and roll. And everything else is just putting the other constructs in place. So yeah.
But you made it easy. You made it easy. Your process made it easy. I could feel just your openness also, which invited me to be open. And then there was just this fluidity.
Yeah.
That occurs, which is so wonderful. Again, the session, I can't say enough about it. I'll take advantage of that. Leslie, let's take some live calls.
Sure.
Let's get into live calls. Linda, we'll get to you in a second. Not yet, since you had your hand raised. Anybody else wants to ask a live call, you can just raise your hand and we'll put you on video. We'll get to you in a second. Michelle is going to ask your question here, Michelle, but we'll get to you as well. But Gurjeet had a question. Gurjeet asked, in the 30-minute session, will you do any healing for the person?
Sure. Yeah. So absolutely. So it'll be my advancement session, which is 30 minutes is a short period of time, but we get there. We will absolutely, as John, you experienced, we dive in pretty quick. And usually that's what it is in the first 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We've hooked that block. I can get there very, very quickly. So absolutely, in that 30 minutes, we'll dive in, we'll go through the whole remap process. We'll get you shifted and get the pieces in place for you to continue to integrate on your own. In an hour session, it's so much easier because we have more time to integrate, but we absolutely will hit on all the pieces that you need so that when you leave that call, you'll be able to just hit the ground running and move forward. Absolutely.
Great. Gurjeet, thank you for asking that. And Linda, let's go to you now. If you'll unmute, please.
Yes, I will. Thank you very much. Leslie, so are you changing the energy centers then around the person and finding the blocks and then shifting it to a higher energy level?
Yeah. So what I do is I help the person uncover in themselves where the block is. So whatever it is that the issue is, we find it. You know, I see it, I experience it, but I help the individual identify and experience it and find it for themselves. So I facilitate them discovering that, because this is about you becoming sovereign. This is about you tuning into yourself. So I'm not doing a healing on you. I'm facilitating you understanding and finding that for yourself. So then through my work, through the energy transference, you can then receive that and go through your process of dissolving and then downloading it on your own.
Okay.
Does that
Sounds
answer
good.
the question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks for asking. And let's go to our next live caller. Let's go. Gurjeet, welcome. Unmute, please.
Hi, John, and hi, Leslie. Really happy to be here. And my question for you is, I thoroughly enjoyed your talk, and I was wondering, in the clearing that I just asked and I got an answer that you will do in the 30-minute session, but I'm just wondering, is that one session enough? Or like, are you able to locate the block and clear it? Because in my case, it's a struggle to get clients. So, and I know there's a deep block that's, preventing me from getting the clients. So, or will I need more sessions, or how to, like, any clarity on that?
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. So it really, so when I tune in with you, there are layers there. What I'm picking up is, this is not just a single session necessarily in terms of being able to clear. What we can do in the session is be able to shift out the density around the energetic, what's the word? There's like a void in this energetic existence that you have that we need to clear out. What I'm picking up on is, when we go in and we do a big clearing with you, you need to reinforce it with very particular vibration to take that void that will be left and integrate new vibration into it. So I'm seeing it like a white with this round kind of heavy exterior. So it's going to take you more repetition to fill up and recalibrate and get more of the vibrational alignment, but the heaviness we can shift out of. So it's not going to necessarily take a long time or repetition, or I know it's been frustrating for you, but it's really going to be about getting you into a new vibrational state once that energetic density is cleared out. Does that make sense to you?
I totally understand it. Thank you. I've got
Okay.
that.
Okay, perfect.
Finally, one last thing. Will you be doing a bit of clearing for the participants on the call, or that's not part of today's?
Oh,
Black.
I will delegate that to John.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hang on, we'll see where we go with it. We're kind of following the flow right now, Gurjeet. And
Right.
thanks for calling in. Amazing. Oh, she's so awesome. All right, we have two Michelles on the line. So let's go to Michelle that has the lighter background in the video. I can see a little bit of white and some light in the back, and then we'll go to the other Michelle in a little bit. Yes, you, Michelle. Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Kalyn. I'm really appreciating, I'm resonating so much with everything you're saying. And so I'm able to connect with other people and help them to identify their blockages. But when it comes to me, helping myself in that way. So I must have a biggie that you can see so easy from there. So I'm just asking if you have any insight, because I've been struggling with this. I understand Akashic records and I can help other people, but when it comes to myself, there's something that I'm not able to get through.
Well, and I want to ask something as you answer this, Leslie, because it's in our community, we speak so much of blocks and glass ceilings and all these other things. And from my understanding, more and more is as those points that felt like they weren't moving evolve, that they're really there for a purpose. And it's not necessarily the judgment of the blocks and our ability just to see it, but there's also a relationship with that which is still brewing inside of us that actually gives way to something that's blossoming. And again, from what I'm finding in creation and manifestation right now, that the words that we use in the relationship that we have with those aspects of ourselves, which we can be the most hard on ourselves than we are on anybody else, that really paying attention to the energetics of those. Again, that's why the energy clearings in the videos, I'm so happy that they're there as you guys receive the workbook and the processes, because that really provides a waterway, really a watershed of allowing this energy to disperse and share its intelligence in a new way that we just haven't been accustomed to yet.
Yeah, that's so absolutely beautiful. I mean, I can't add too much more to that. I do want to dive into, Michelle, what your question was. So what I'm seeing with you, you do have a lot of congestion in your head, basically, in your third eye. Your inner visioning is certainly blocked. I can pick that up. I feel what I was first getting is that you're very it's an intellectual sort of block. I feel like you get very noisy in your head. You talk a lot to yourself, or you're just like so overrun. You can help other people, but when it comes to you, you're just like, the talk is there. That's just kind of what's coming through. And so that's not a difficult thing to clear in terms of the energetic side. But what is really going to be incredibly profound for you is you need to get very quiet. So you're at the precipice of shifting into your, switching into your inner wisdom and out of the mind, like you're right there. And so this is coming up now because you're going to make a big leap in terms of being able to step into your own inner healing. But to do that, you really need to learn how to quiet. And so there's many different things you can do to do that. But it's going to take a lot of like repetition. It's not going to be necessarily a challenging thing, but we need to clear that out and then really reinforce and teach you how to get quiet in a way that works for you, because the methods you use don't work at all. Like they're kind of below your caliber. You really need to have something that's more advanced and really connects you deeply. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to quiet it, is really getting deeply connected with yourself. Does that make sense?
It does, because it's so challenging, as you can tell, when I try to meditate, and I've tried all sorts of different types of meditation. For me, it is very hard to quiet that.
When you meditate, how do you meditate? What method do you use?
I just took some training in mediumship, which helps me to just know how to tune in and to settle under. And same with when I go into the Akashic records,
Okay.
I can do a short time, but trusting that the guidance is there, trusting that I'm tuned in is really difficult.
I was just going to say that it doesn't matter what you do, the method isn't going to work for you. You need to clear out, and you just identified exactly what it was.
Mhm.
You need to clear out the distortion, because you can study everything and anything right now. It's not going to work. So we just have to clear that. And it's like, I'm seeing it like as a big sort of fluffy gray, like grayish cloud kind of bubbling here. And so it's when I say like, it's fine, we can clear it and remove it, but I can't really recommend what will be the best method for you to connect deeper with yourself until we clear it. And it might just happen very quickly and innately, and you'll just fall upon it. But what I know is going to be really important for you to step into you being able to use that ability to heal yourself and really get yourself to the next level is getting very quiet. So the way you're going to do that, you might already know, you just have to eliminate the block to get there. So I hope that helps.
Okay. It does very much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Michelle, thanks a lot. And again, what you took me into, again, the process that we went through, Leslie, is that you took me to the root of why
Mhm.
the movement wasn't there in the way that I was seeking it. And really it provided this entanglement
Mhm.
that allowed a different flow to occur. So even as you're talking to Michelle, I get that. It's like you can try methods and all that, but once you discover the why,
Right.
these other things, and again, and also perhaps then that you're at the level in which you're capable of receiving, which is, it just doesn't meet you where you are and what's the next level of access that you have. Again, a different flow becomes available. And it's again, that peacefulness that we talked about earlier. It's like,
Yeah.
and the intelligence and the life force and vitality that flows through it. So it's not just about breaking through, it's about activating life force,
Yes.
activating vitality. It's like, what I can live like what?
Yes. Yeah. And
Right?
that's exactly right. And so I'm always talking about people around me. They eat it up every time I say you really are limitless beings. Like the potential is so there, because when you up level your energy and then you match that with all the other pieces, your cognition literally changes and you can access completely different knowledge. Your conscious capacity changes. So when your energy shifts, and so things that that resonated with you may be obsolete and you got to do something else, or you're banging your head trying to, like in Michelle's case, use meditation, or she's studying so much to find what works for her. And then all of a sudden she's going to shift this block and be like, oh, I had the tools the whole time. I couldn't access them. I couldn't reach them. So yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting time. Yeah.
It's funny because I see it's like, we just want to take the aspirin so the headache will go away. And it's like, no, hold on a second. It's beyond getting rid of the headache. It's like, what's possible when I have energy and I feel like myself?
Right.
That's where we're going. Most of us, when we're doing unclearing blocking or getting past the limiting belief, we're just looking for the relief past the block.
Yeah.
And I'll say that on air, screw that. There's so much more. There's so much more. And so, and I love how you take us into that, and really there's that flow becomes available. Michelle, thank you for motivating this part of the conversation, and blessings to you. Yeah. Let's go to, I'll get to the other Michelle in a second, but let's go to Wayne first. I'm guided to get you to come on, Wayne, if you don't mind.
Thank you. First and foremost, Leslie, I just want to say hi.
Hi.
You know, I'm in I'm in a really I'm in a really similar place. I had I'm not going to say a similar experience, but it's put me in this hard place. And I loved when you say, I think without thinking now. You know, it's just there. It's just flow.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have a PhD in interdisciplinary theory.
Wow.
So I'm a thinker about thought.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Wayne, what question do you have?
Well, what I wanted to put into the circle is my experience of when you were talking about the relationship between peace and love. What came to me, and I just wanted to see how you felt about this, was neutrality. Is that they're both in the same very neutral energy field that is I would explain it as the energy field of love is neutrality. So, but I wondered how you resounded with that, or if it resounded with you at all.
Yeah, actually, right before you said love is neutral. You said it right after. It was great. It was in my head. Love is where we originated from. We were born from love. It is our original state. So our original state, to me, would mean that is our neutral. Most of us in our lives before this, we've been resonating and living at a lower vibration, in a negative. If you want to think it, not a negative necessarily as a bad, but in a state that isn't at our original. We started that way as we were first incarnated, and then over lifetimes, and this lesson learning, however you believe our lifetime, sort of what the purpose was for, we kind of ended up getting this congestion. We put on all these layers of heaviness that have distorted us from coming into our, being able to be that love, that neutral state of love. Yeah. So from that loving wholeness, from that self-love, these new templates of self-love that are really activating or have the potential to activate, that I help facilitate, we can then expand into the higher octaves of love, which are peace, sort of a higher vibration. And then we have joy, and then bliss, and then unity, and all those great things. And I have bliss all the time. That's kind of where I like to live at. So bliss finds me all the time, because that's where I vibrate at. But love, absolutely, I would consider that our neutral, our starting point. And from there, all the beautiful things can happen from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's where that instant manifestation really flows in, because I feel that when you're in that, there's no longer the expectancy of love, which is a form of scarcity. No love, you know that it just is. There's not layers of it or barometers for it. It just is. And so when you're in that space and you're more in flow with that, again, that manifestation, how that occurs so much more quickly, becomes an experience of overflow that we have to start reattuning to. And like I said earlier, adjusting to, because it's so different than what we grew up experiencing for many of us.
Right. And I just want to add to that. So with peace, if you remember, I was saying that is where that inner soul peace is, where we feel safe in the world. We feel secure. We have that knowing that I can manifest. That's really what peace embodies. It's just that I'm good, I'm safe, I'm secure. So from that loving state of just, I am love. Love is me, I am it. I'm in that neutral wholeness. I know who I am. My higher self aspect is me. I'm emitting that. Then you can shift into that piece where it's like, oh, and I'm not just amazing and I am love and have love. Holy, I'm really good in this world. Like I can achieve and I can be and I can do it all securely, safely. And yeah. And so from there, that's, then the manifestation can really come through, because you're at that, just those vibrations of bringing that in. So yeah, getting into that piece, absolutely, that manifestation can come, because there is none of that. It doesn't exist in love, because love is neutral. But having that peace, it's just that extra layer of really kind of having that confidence. And again, safety is a big thing for people right now, and that security, not having that scarcity. So getting to that next level, yeah, I feel like the abundance just draws it in so much quicker there.
Wayne, thank you so much for coming on and bringing in that awareness. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Wayne.
Brother. All right, Michelle, before we go to you, I want to remind everybody, well, we're going to run the replay. So we'll send out the replay link a little bit later, and you'll be able to come back and listen to the call and get into resonance and harmony with this beautiful conversation that's happening here with Leslie. And of course, the special offer, which again includes this method, which is so good. I'm hoping that all of y'all choose to experience it. And also the opportunity to have a 30-minute session with Leslie. And so the link for the special offer is in the chat box, or you can go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Leslie27, and it'll take you to that same page. And all right, Michelle 2 or Michelle 1, you guys decide.
Hello,
Welcome.
thank you. I have a question. I was wondering if this could help with grief.
So the journey back to wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly could have an application. Can I get a little bit more information about what kind of grief?
I guess it's like the expectation of my life has not turned out the way I thought it would be, and I just feel I'm grieving it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad that I asked, because I was thinking if it was an external, it would have some application, but you would need to use the remap process as a separate from the journey back to wholeness. If it's within, absolutely. And so what's coming up for me is the self-compassion aspect of this, or this kindness, is really where it's probably would be a difficult, in a good way. That's where the grief would really help, because, grief is so similar. It can be intertwined with regret and shame and blame and judgment. And so having self-compassion and kindness is really about forgiveness. And it's really about knowing that it's okay, and to be gentle with yourself. And so when you step into that loving kindness, you can heal that grief, because all of the other constructs that are intertwined with that can be dissolved. And then if the grief stands on its own, which with you, I'm not feeling like the grief that you're experiencing particularly would stand very firmly on its own. I feel like there's so many other energetic feelings that are associated with it, that if you went through that process, especially that, like I said, the kindness, you'd find that the grief ends up dissolving along with it too.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, thanks, Michelle. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. Great questions. Alyssa wants to know if she comes to the session already knowing her block that she needs help with. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Depending, some people are absolutely aware. They might have something underlying, but absolutely, we can go there. And if something surprises and comes up, perfect. As long as she's willing to work with it, that's really the biggest thing. I can only do my work and facilitate, as much as the person is willing. So if she's just willing to work on that block that comes up, that's perfectly fine. But I do encourage people to come in being willing to explore, because I caution that if someone comes in saying, I know this is my block, let's fix it, that limitation in and of itself could be part of the reason it's not being cleared on its own. So we don't want to limit ourselves too much. Not saying that that's what she's doing. I'm just, bringing that forward, that it is about that willingness. We can absolutely go into that block, and it might just be bing, bang, boom, and it's clear, but be open to experiencing something else, because there might be something deep underneath that block that really is the true root. And I wouldn't want someone to unwittingly be limiting themselves from experiencing really something transformative, because they weren't allowing themselves to really have the freedom to go beyond.
Yeah, and I would say be in the innocence of it. And again, using my example, how we went in, we started with financial constraints. And it's like, there's more. And it's like, I feel like this tightening and it's like going to burst, but it's not bursting yet and all that. And she's like, well, what else is there? And we got into the colors, we got to these other places, and I was willing to go there. And again, a divine questioning, or an innocent questioning rather than a very solid, this is where I am, because the exterior, what's showing on the external piece, whether we bring that external piece is one thing, but what my soul and I'll call it this disassociated aspect of myself was looking for in relationship was really something much deeper than the zeros in my bank account.
Right. I mean, who would have thought that you came in with this, this challenge and the constructs that you had with creating, and it came into this, the inner child aspect of yourself.
Right.
Like you wouldn't necessarily have put that together. And that's the beauty of that whole experience. And just as since you brought it up, or I brought it up earlier, my process doesn't always go into the colors, like we had described and what you had experienced. That was just the way that I was guided for you to get to that root, which was your inner child. Other people, it's different. Other people, it just shows up. Other people, it's through, they'll cry and then it'll come out, or they'll just, the word will pop up or whatever. So with the way that I get there isn't always the exact same, except that I have them tune in, we get into the body, but the method we get there is totally different. But yeah, it's amazing, that willingness to really go there. It's surprising, right? And that's the beauty of it, is that we don't know what we don't know is being held inside of us. And so just being open to really saying, okay, what I know that there's something that's limiting me. It's divine time now for me to remove it, because it's being brought to my attention. So let's just bravely go there. I'm in a safe space and work it through. I make it sound so simple because it really is that way. I mean, it really can be in the right energetic space, the right, practitioner with the right energy to bring forward.
Beautiful. I think that's a perfect place to end tonight. Y'all are in the safe place with the divine timing, with a practitioner that's there to facilitate, that I highly recommend. And what a beautiful opportunity. The special offer is there to go deeper with Leslie if you choose to. The replay is available to come back and revisit and attune to the harmonics of this energy that's being shared here just so beautifully and with such generosity. And again, it's just so wonderful to be able to introduce you to Beyond the Ordinary today, Leslie, and just appreciate, again, the time that we had together in that session and how that unfolded, what it's brought up here in conversation, and what you're sharing with our community. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for the work that you're doing. And I'm excited for everybody who's going to go deeper.
Thank you. So much love and so many blessings to all of you. Thank you, John.
Yes, thank you. And everybody on the call, thank you all. You all are the reason that I've had so much hope for so many years. And you're the reason manifest. So thank you for being my confirmation of what's possible and what's true in this world. I love y'all. I look forward to seeing you on the next call. Have a great evening.